Yeah, Ben, it sounds fine to me.
Well,
Cool. One
thank you.
second.
Thank you for joining Vibe Osmosis. How is everybody doing?
Awesome.
I'm good. Hold on one second.
That's all right. Well, about to say momentarily, everybody get really, really high, smoke your weed because we are about to get into some crazy ass music.
Woo. Ben, what are you
All
doing?
right. Yeah. Sorry, I had to run upstairs real quick, and there's a TV on, and I just muted my mic so that
Yeah, muted that.
you know.
Okay, so everybody introduce themselves and your music and what you do.
Uh, my name is. We are Macula Dog. My name's Ben, and
Hey, I'm Matt.
yeah,
I'm the
I don't know what
Macula
else.
Dog. Ben, I hear your Discord notifications going off.
Oh yeah, it's going crazy right now. All right.
We just made a Discord today,
Oh,
and
are you gamers?
I play. Not really. No.
No, and that's why it's really chaotic because we're not used to being on Discord, and it's
Yeah,
like a whole new universe.
Discord
Do you
newbies.
do you game?
I am actually into gaming. I'm like really really into the like art role playing LARP and like also really into like Halo Alien kind of video games, the classic
Yeah.
old school like Nintendo stuff. So honestly, so whenever I first listened to your music, shout out from my friend's band Elite Terrorism Modulus,
Oh, sick.
yeah, they were like, oh, if you never heard this or came across this, then like this might be up your alley before, even before the whole show happened. So,
Yeah.
what like inspires you guys? What inspires everybody to make music, and how did you all meet?
Well, we have known each other since we were like 8 years old, like when we were children. So, um, I think we started making music together probably when we were teenagers, early teenagers, like 13 or so. And I don't know what started it. I think it was just a cool thing to do at the time. And I don't know. I just remember asking Matt randomly if he played trombone because I was starting a ska band, and he was like, "Yeah." Or like I found out he played trombone, and it was like that was the moment that we came together musically. And I don't know, Matt. Maybe you have a different story, but that's the one I remember.
No, that makes sense to me.
It makes
That's
it
cool. The
makes
elite.
sense. Yeah.
That's cool. The elite terrorism modulus people hit you up. Yeah, we played that show in Columbus at Dirty Dungarees like a couple weeks ago, and yeah, yeah, cool show. Were you there?
I didn't get to make it, but
Oh, okay.
right, like we jam and like get together and like smoke and drink and shoot the shit and
In Dayton or in Columbus?
I'm in Dayton now.
Ah, okay,
Yeah, so
cool.
they're kind of my peeps. So I was really really surprised whenever I kind of came across your music and and the whole show went down. But also I do kind of know everybody kind of performs music in different ways too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think with this band, like, we both wanted to do what had become comfortable to us, which was doing kind of like electronic, you know, music for the most part, electronic based, like synthesizer music, but like make it a live band, make it like a live act, people, and make it engaging and entertaining and make the live show, you know, like, yeah, like you're there and you're seeing a band perform. And, our tastes and stuff have changed since we started the band, but I think we're still really still invested in like, making it worthwhile to come out and see. And, just a total, bonus to what you hear on the record. So I don't know if that, I know you weren't really asking for that in what your comment just now, but yeah, I don't know. It's a cool thought. And
No,
That's sort of what
that's
we're
actually
doing.
really actually what I'm looking for per se too, especially like with you know translating what you have on a record and then like doing something live that's also somewhat performative or kind of meeting up to like what you know is being revived is how I like to say it
Mm,
for the audience too.
yeah.
You know, it makes it a little bit I feel like easier to swallow whenever you're kind of putting together like how it's happening, and other than like you know getting to kind of be in control of what you're listening to at home, maybe too, or especially with volume wise, you're kind of getting the full spectrum whenever you're getting the live taste.
Yeah, you don't get to choose how loud it is, I guess.
Which I think is the best part because you're really making sense of like how different kinds of instruments can come together and also like what like the jumbled mess works to.
I mean, that's a really good like perspective on it. That like you can't like people coming to see a live show for the most part, unless it's like acoustic music or something. It's always going to be like way louder than you would listen to at home or something, and that's just like a whole aspect of that experience I didn't really think about. It's funny.
And also with making music now, like what's everybody's favorite process? Is it like the actual getting together and jamming? Or is it like getting down to the nitty gritty of mixing and recording? What's your favorite?
Uh, I think you know it's changed. Like Matt was just saying, it's kind of like it started out with us wanting to do everything live, and by live I mean hitting you know pads because the whole band started with electronic instruments, so playing keyboard and playing drum pad.
Oh yeah.
And that's just kind of how it started, and we kind of were pretty hardcore about just sticking to that for a long time. And then we just wanted to do something different, so it started evolving to where it was half of it. This last record was like half of it was hand played, but then it was all taken on the computer and brought back. Like everything was kind of like always transitioning between played live and sequenced, and trying to find like a, a, a nice middle ground um, for the feel of the songs themselves, so it wasn't always super on the grid or it wasn't super sloppy, because we are very sloppy when we play, and I think that lends itself to we're kind of wrangling a lot of the sounds and the equipment a lot of the time, and I think that comes across live to us more, but like on the record there's a little more tightness because we kind of finessed it a bit. But um yeah, we're going back and forth between the two, and I think we're just kind of like most importantly trying to we would do practices remotely over COVID a lot.
Yeah.
And even when we did that, we had a video call. Like it was a video call. We were both working on separate things, but there was a video call always on, so we could just like kind of be in each other's presence. And I think like this band really, all bands I guess are like this, but this band is really much about like the the interpersonal kind of give and take of each other, like to the even down to like I want to see his face while I'm working on something, stuff like that. But so yeah, that's kind of how we've been approaching it recently. Um, but it's changed.
Also, you want to shout out like any bands, any artists, any media that influence kind of what you create today.
Oh, tons of, I mean, tons of stuff growing. Like when we were like teenagers was stuff that probably like made the biggest impact. I guess that's how it always is. But when we always talk about this, so I don't know if I'll just say it again, but we kind of like there's a pivotal show for us when we were growing up in Florida. It was this band called The Locust, and it they toured with a band who we know now. it's this guy Brian and someone else named Jason. At the time, it was called Yip Yip, and um, it was like just like instrumental, kind of like the analog synth drum machine version of the Locust or something, but a little more like dancey and electronic or something like that. Um, and they were touring together, and we saw that show, and it like I think it really changed how we made music and thought of stuff. And I think stuff like that, you know, it, it's crazy how much of an impact that had on me personally, and probably Matt, but to the point where I'm always just anyone asks that, I'm just like always what I'm bringing up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely like the historical. Just like if you're thinking of like trajectory from then
but
to now.
a lot of music from that era, obviously because that was the time that we were both getting into, um, experimental music or whatever the underground music. I think a lot of stuff from that era
I always like to say that my dreams have their own colors and feelings like associated with them, just because like I'll wake up and then go back to sleep and then have like a different dream that's like a different kind of vibe, different kind of feeling, and then wake up, take a piss or whatever, and then go back to sleep, and it's like a whole other dream. And it's like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I had like 7 dreams last night, and they all collided into each other.
They yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot about like people dreaming of like, I don't know if you're an artist, if you're like a visual artist or something, but dreaming of like color combinations and stuff like that. I can never remember, but uh, I think I'm so dead asleep that I'd wake up and like it's like a time warp and nothing happened. I'm sure I dream. It's just something I just do not remember.
Ben's really good at whenever he's not feeling well, he just can sleep for a long time and make himself
I mean,
unsick.
even when I feel well, I can sleep for a while.
Yeah. I
it,
mean, yeah, like I've always been really impressed with you for that. You know, you're just, yeah,
Then I'm able to like wipe it clean, wipe the slate clean.
yeah, like,
That's what sleep is. I think it's like a memory.
it makes you
yeah.
reborn again.
Yeah, it's kind of like reincarnation for like someone who has a lot of time and like, you know,
I mean, yeah, I
no
don't know.
obligations, a lot of time. You can just reincarnate yourself every night.
All right, so I want to get back to your music. So I actually really do love your recent music video. I know it's a couple months old now, but
For
for
Neosporin,
yes, and I was wondering your inspiration behind that, and also like where did the idea come from, as well as like the artistic inspiration, I guess too.
Um, so that video, uh, I think I was kind of into like this. There's like I just love that whole YouTuber culture of people like going to uh, adult like skydiving places or like adult like playgrounds or whatever they're called. I forget what they're
Yeah,
called.
just example videos.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure, they're great.
And everyone's doing all these like crazy like parkour flips and just nuts like jumps into the ball pit
And
and
heavy
stuff.
reviews, and like, this is where this
Yeah.
is at, and this is how much I spent on it.
Yeah, and like they're making a huge spectacle in these ball pits, and all the kids are like in awe, and like they're doing all these crazy tricks, and probably helping promote the facility a lot by doing it. But like, I always just thought like, if this is like an adult playground, then I would love to make a video that's more like accurate to maybe what I was doing in a playground as a kid, which is just like crying or something. And I think like putting a putting someone who's not supposed to be there or someone who doesn't want to be there in some place that's really supposed to be fun. Um, and that's the idea for the video is that it's basically like an older man having a existential crisis or a panic attack in this like recreation center that he doesn't want to be in, but everyone's having fun around him. And um, I think conceptually it worked with the song, even though the lyrics are not completely, present. It's still like this. Uh, I think the music kind of lends itself to that experience. And
That's a
then
really
as
good
far as
point.
what's that?
That's a
Sorry.
really good point. And in my own experience of it, is like, in my view of it as the viewer, other than the creator, it put me in the shoes of exactly like what it's like in that merry-go-round of this thing called life, I guess, of being in places, right, that make you maybe feel uncomfortable, that you put a lot of energy into, but also at the same time you're wanting to experience maybe like this other collective of artistic expression behind it too.
I mean, I think there is like a a beauty aesthetically in a lot of those places. Like I think those places are kind of these amazing installations, but like almost like cathedrals of fun or something, like these
Oh, for
weird.
sure.
But like the the I think I wanted to say though is we were also like looking at well you know, like when people will go through haunted houses with GoPros
Yes.
and they'll kind of like show their reaction, and I wanted to do that but not in a haunted house and more of like a non-scary environment,
I
traditionally
love the
scary or
haunted
something.
Do
houses
you
where it's just dark and you're
do
getting
you
like the glimpses of what they get to see, and
do
it's
you
like
get
also
scared easily, Jeffrey?
Well, I went to go see the new Evil Dead Rise, and I did not have nightmares. But whenever I went to see the other Evil Dead, when that was in theaters on acid, I was shook for the rest of my life. It felt like.
Yeah, that
Dang.
sounds scary.
Would you say that's like your biggest fear in life?
Uh,
Getting scared?
what
Is getting
like
scared your biggest
Getting
fear?
scared. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say like mine would be like a actual exorcism, a demon takeover, or you're having to be put in the shoes of like, oh no, the reigns of hell just happened, and like I have to like kill fucking people and like save my ass or something. Like that's
You're
pretty
afraid of
scary.
like
Wait. So
survival.
you're not afraid of the exorcism. You're afraid of like the being held by the demon.
Of course, like I do not want to be in that dark
Is
room.
that do you really I mean you feel like that's realistic?
it could happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
I
being
mean there's
afraid of
stories of it, right?
I think
There are stories of it.
being afraid of being scared is a pretty good fear though. I
Well
can
no, but
relate to that.
that's not what Jeffrey said.
No, but he said that earlier in the night.
But that doesn't Jeff, does that hmm. Well, so if that's your biggest fear, then what would be like biggest insecurity then? Or do you think those two are related?
I mean, I feel like like you're way less insecure in a complete dark room.
You
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like whenever somebody else is watching in that dark room, you maybe not so comfortable.
So
Like
like
two,
someone creeping in the corner.
yeah,
Dang.
like the night vision goggles from
Oh,
Silence of the Lambs or
So,
whatever.
so we'll get into the next big question for you. Favorite
have,
movies or movies that you've seen recently.
ha- uh,
Yeah, Matt, go for it. You sound like you know.
mm, what did I see recently? I saw, I saw Magic Mike 3.
Hey.
There's a
That
third one.
was, yeah. I hated it for the first 30 minutes and then there was sort of like a paradigm shift that happened when all the male dancers like started dancing on this
I
bus.
watched it
And
as
then
well.
Wow,
yeah,
that's a paradigm shift. A real paradigm
no,
shift.
Exactly. The first 30 minutes of it, you're like, this is so unrealistic. No way are you taking an hour and playing like a music scene and like dancing and grinding and then like getting into bed. Like that whole shebang. I don't know. Like I was like, what an
oh,
industry
I was
move.
convinced by that. The first scene was good to me. I thought the first 30 minutes were weirdly like I was I was invested in the plot and trying to be like, okay, I can't tell why this isn't working. It feels like an uncanny version
Exactly.
of reality, and like I'm trying to let myself believe it. And then as soon as the bus dancing happened, I was like, oh yeah, it's like a romance novel, and you just have to like let like a meaning for I don't know this dancing, and it actually made it for it just turned into a really enjoyable movie.
Did anybody watch Bros?
I didn't see Bros.
I'm actually on the good side of bros right now, and I've looked into it. They took
Is
in
the for okay? I didn't see it. It's like a
it's your novel bromance movie, queer-esque, but also in the movie of
huh, cool. I need to see it. I
it's
saw them promoting it on The Bachelor recent.
exactly like
Like,
it got promoted. It was up on HBO for a small period of time until maybe the to it. It's like once
wait, they took it down
they took it down, and now it's
today?
like they made it
Wait,
hard for you to find
how
it.
many times have you been like watching it every day?
Oh, I mean, I definitely not watch. I think I watched it twice.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
How did you
it's,
how did you find out it was that they took it down?
after I watched it on HBO Max, the next day it was no longer on HBO Max.
Sad. Okay.
Well, exactly. That's kind of one of those things about movies.
And the streaming, and the
Yeah, the things
streaming.
that come out on streaming. Did you have any other favorite movies you were going to shout out?
I'm gonna go with what Matt said. I haven't seen it, but it sounds good.
You didn't watch the new Avatar?
No,
I hated it.
I wanted to go,
All right, so
but I'll defer
I
to
hated
Matt.
it because I
I'll defer
saw
to
it in
Matt.
4D at 10:30 in the morning, and it
4D,
made me sick.
4D, and that was at home or like
It
after it
was
came out?
no,
You
I
watched
went to
you,
the
you did you rent one of those
I
4D seats at home and watch
I
Avatar?
hired a guy who recreated the 4D experience at home by spraying me in the face with water and shaking me around whenever.
We should watch it on a boat, like a canoe with like a projector set up or something.
I thought that it could have been an hour shorter than it was, and truly, nobody should see it in 4D. The seats shaking for 3 hours is like the most nauseating, awful
Did you see
Well,
Magic
experience.
Mike in 4D?
I could
No,
see Magic Mike in 4D, but
I would.
Avatar, I feel like in 4D you had to be on drugs, and if you were actually going to want to enjoy that movie, watch it at home on the curve.
What's the curve?
The curve is, the classic display that curves around. So whenever you look away, you can't fucking look away.
I mean, I saw it on like a big curve, like
Oh,
in the
like an
theater.
That's
IMAX.
another 4D experience, my friend. It makes you live inside there. There's no escaping.
I'll probably watch it when I'm 40, and with 4D. Like
All right. So
when I turn 40, I'll watch Avatar 2 in 4D.
by the time that you're 40, there's going to be like a whole ass generation plus of Avatar.
There'll probably be 5D by the time I'm 40.
I know that they're going to be popping them out like little babies, like Nick Cannon right now.
That would be a good
they
to get Nick.
got a lot of them lined up.
They're
Wait,
gonna
Nick
like
Cannon.
motion cap. They're gonna motion cap all of Nick Cannon's children for the next
Nick
Avatar.
Does Nick
Cannon has
Cannon
like
have
13
kids?
kids or so, man.
Yeah,
He's
he's got a
still
lot of
counting.
children.
Ben, why do you know that?
Yeah, he's.
Wait, Ben, what do you know about Nick Cannon's children?
I don't know anything about his children specifically, but I know that it's like a whole thing with him having a lot of kids with like different people.
Do you watch? Do you like watch E? I
Like
don't know.
extra?
Yeah,
No, yeah.
yeah. Oh,
I'm
okay.
always on page 6, but
Like
Isn't
I
page
watch
6
E!
the one where they show like the lewd photos?
Nick Cannon also has his own little TV show, and it's actually badass.
What is it?
it's not Wild and Out, it's something different now.
It's like it's like his daily show, but it's like Nick Cannon style.
They should bring back Wild and Out and
Ben,
have
they
every
actually
contestant.
are. They're straight up are. They're bringing it back.
Oh, and they're putting all of his kids. It's only his kids are contestants.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I will ask you some stuff about your music now, okay?
Oh, okay.
You don't have
I've
to.
actually listened to quite a bit, and one of the things that I'm really interested is how do you start? Do you start with a percussion? Do you start with a melody? Do you write down lyrics? Explain like what inspires you to make a song.
Uh, Matt, what do you think? I mean, I think mostly we start with percussion almost, but
Yeah, I'd
it's
say
weird
it's
because
usually like
what's up? I think it's just because it's odd for us because percussion is sometimes like the melody. Like a lot of the times, the percussion will be the bass line, so it's like an entire rhythm section a lot of the time, and then we'll kind of like add on top of that. But then sometimes it will start with like a melody. It's just really, as they come. Like I don't think there's a specific way we start. If you give us songs, I can tell you how we started them, but like, it's kind of like whatever we feel. It's so hard to make music. So I don't know. Like we just do what we can. Um, but
yeah, all the songs are different, but yeah, a lot of it usually is maybe been maybe trying to like sound design like a new drum or yeah percussion section, but I don't know. I mean, we do have songs that have started with me just like recording on the piano, like a piano track, and
yeah,
like
like
kind of like reinterpreted that.
like
So
the last track on the record, it's called Plug. That was just you playing like a keyboard, and you just sent me like a 30-minute clip of you, or like maybe it was a whole song. It was an entire song, but then I just broke it apart and did the arrangement and added drums and stuff.
right.
And but that doesn't happen that often. But I
No, it's
wish
not. We
wish
try
it
to
would.
do at least one every record like that, but it's not the typical song for us.
And
Yeah,
what inspired like the weird trippy vocals from the very beginning that I've heard to what it
yeah.
became to now?
Um, I think it was at the beginning like I I was really into like the way that
Punk
people
rock
would chop up.
progressiveness happened too.
I was into punk rock. I was into punk rock. um, no, yeah. I mean, I think I really liked how samples would get chopped up. Vocal samples would get chopped up in electronic music, but I always, for some reason, when I first heard it a long time ago, before I really knew what was going on, I kind of just assumed it was like an effect on the voice or something. But you can't really time like I mean, I'm trying to do this, but you literally, it's not physically possible. You can't like time stretch in real time and have it really work. So, like, I used to think that that was all effects before I knew anything about production or anything like that. So, I think that all came from like trying to create a live, again, like a live played version of electronic music that was more real time, not like sequenced or anything, and that just went into that's how it kind of the vocal effects stuff started. And I think it was also about like disguising um and just the texture, trying to change the texture of our voices. Like I think we were just looking for different ways for our voices to sound, as simple as that, but and then it turned into like, and nowadays we're like sitting there trying to make it so every word of the vocals like is just intelligible enough, but not intelligible enough to completely understand. But like there, you'll be able to pick out sections, and um, I think it's like I'm really into the sound poet stuff, like like Charles Dodge, or like there's early computer speech synthesis stuff that I really liked at the time, um, and and I was just trying to apply that musically, which is kind of, I guess, backwards in a weird way, because like they were trying to take all the music away and just focus on the voice, and I'm trying to I just wanted to put it back into music. So I guess that's kind of dumb, but that was kind of where we were coming from with that stuff. and just trying to make it so it's something that could be performed in real time with a voice without any like automatically just my voice, the dynamics of my voice, and the system I created for the voice effect works just by itself and just relies on envelopes from my voice, pitch information, volume information, whatever. And yeah, we're still just doing that.
Nope. What the?
What? What was that?
Yeah, I love that. That sounded great.
Yeah, you want me to remix that? What is that?
Ben did a great job.
Did I?
Yeah, and what's cool is maybe I missed you saying this. It's cool because for the live sets, he's been taking a lot of the vocal effects that have been done on hardware and has been recreating them in software. And has been doing, some programming and a couple different softwares to kind of, reinterpret and just make the vocal effects that have been all done sort of in the studio into actual live patches that work live. And it's been sick.
Yeah, I think it's just like a really like this whole band's existence has been kind of defined by like working really hard to make things less clear rather than make them more clear. Usually you're striving for clarity, and I think as far like not like actual like intelligibility of vocals or like understanding like melody of the rhythm, trying to work really hard to make those things a little more ambiguous and crazy on mine. Yeah, I hear it, but someone just has a speaker on. Yeah, I don't know. What was the question again?
Also,
Jeffrey, are you there? Okay.
all right. So I was gonna bring up an essential question. Your favorite instrument?
I don't really know what instrument I play. Like, I don't really know what. I guess like I don't know. Matt, I'll try to think. You say versus like drums. I guess I don't know.
Favorite instrument. My like the rack.
You're looking up
my,
instruments on Google.
just Google instruments and like trumpet.
All right. So how about this one then? DAW. How about your favorite DAW or recording system? Any trial and error? Have you tried
We use
tape?
Logic.
Logic. Besides Logic though, what do you like to mess with?
I've used.
Well, Matt, you like Pro Tools better than Logic, don't you?
I used to, but now I've been using. Yeah, actually, I still like Pro Tools way better than Logic.
But I feel like I don't know. Just Logic is just kind of what we ended up with. But like,
I love Logic, but I'm also really impressed on some of the songs that you get, and how it comes together.
like
I mean,
in Logic.
Yeah.
Does it sound like it wouldn't be able to be done in Logic?
I wouldn't. No, I don't say that. I would just.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know the parameters. I'm personally,
Sure.
I had no clue what the fuck you all made music out of per se.
It would be funny if somebody could pick out like which DAW is being used for which songs. I mean, I know that Ableton has like a lot of stuff going on that maybe a lot more like
I think
straight genre producers who do electronic music would like know what's pretty classic Ableton, but I don't really know what those are.
Well, look, like let's be real. Like, Logic is just like recording our sounds. We're not doing anything like we're not, very sparsely on this, even on this last record, were we even using any soft synths or anything, and like those can be cross-platform, across all the DAWs. So it's like
Cross DAW.
cross DAW, but yeah, I mean, I think like we used a lot. We've been just using a lot of hardware and just recording into Logic and using MIDI from Logic to sequence stuff, and it's not necessarily like Logic is really doing anything much for us. Although with our live stuff recently, like I have like built our whole live set, and we're not using backing tracks, so like I had to build. We're still playing live, so I'm just using all of these Logic
templates.
environment. I just built like the entire set on Logic environment and made it so, Logic environment is sick, and it's kind of like maybe like a little old school or something, but I mean, I love it, and we're using that in Pure Data for stuff live. But I mean,
Also, the Logic samplers too have been really
yeah,
easy and helpful. I don't know. I mean, they've probably been around forever, but recently we've been. I don't know. I've definitely like switched to trying to use those more for actual like writing more
yeah. I
than
mean,
ever in the
this,
past. I didn't realize how easy they were to use. So
Yeah, growing up, I like. I mean, I mix with everything, but and even I've tried. Whenever I first got my first Mac, I used only Ableton, and then whenever I started to record and make my own music from like my actual like analog gear, and like getting introduced to other people, they showed me Pro Tools, and then I was like stuck on Pro Tools, and then once I got a brand new Mac and the iPad, I was stuck on like Logic and GarageBand. So it's
yeah. I
like
mean,
I never can ever tell from any artist now at this point, like what
because they're all
programs,
pretty
you
much the
know.
same. I mean, I don't mean to like. I'm sure maybe people will say they're not, but I feel like, you know, there's differences, but I just feel like and specific historically for us, it's Logic has just been like a tape machine,
right.
like a
It's
tape machine and maybe
yeah,
a sequencer, but nowadays we
good
actually are
mixer.
using yeah, and we are using more software and like stuff like that. So, I think it's just I know Logic so well that I'm just like kind of not. I don't want to like take the time to learn all these other DAWs unless it's like I've been messing with Metasynth, which is like um an old DAW that was like specifically for spectral synthesis and spectral resynthesis and stuff like that.
Wait, but you can't bring that into Logic as a VST then,
No, I don't think
or an
they have.
AU.
They don't have like their own plugin yet.
Weird.
It's its
How
own
I used
thing.
to have to do it, I had to plug up my other computer and run Ableton, and then have my laptop up and run like Serato or like whatever instrument I was using to kind of like use that as its own instrument, and then record that into Logic and then use
Huh.
like what Logic had.
Yeah.
What
So
year are you
yeah,
talking
everyone
about?
has their own processes of like trying to find out like what fits for them and how they like to work on music and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whatever work, I mean, it's just like you can do. I feel like similar things with a lot of these. It's like I have a friend who's like he evangelizes Bitwig and like, and it's like there's these niche things that everyone can get into and like whatever works. I don't know. We're not like I wouldn't say we're real like computer music people, but I think we're probably leaning more in that direction nowadays than we ever have been.
Oh,
And
Definitely.
I'm just
I'm
used to.
definitely really impressed on the different kind of stuff you did for vocals in this past stuff. If you were mixing and working with Logic.
Yeah, well, all the vocal. Thanks. I mean, all the vocal stuff was hardware. All of the vocal. What's up?
Obviously, compressors and stuff in Logic, but
Yeah. Like we mix in Logic, but like all the mixes are done in Logic. But all the vocal processing, that is all hardware, and it's digital. A lot of it's like digital hardware and modules, like Eurorack modules and vocoders and whatever various pitch shifters and stuff like that. But none of that was like software, like on the computer at least. So like it's not something that's just like on Logic. But
Exactly. I love how like right now, like I've been mixing with or like recording and doing like some vocal stuff with this magic pedal, as you know, the Vox pedal, the Sing Tricks, the TC Helicon,
mhm.
and like those ones with they give out like so much in the digital sound processors. Before that, I was using a lot of the Digitech. Were you
Yeah.
ever like mixing up gear and trying to find out like what gear best fit for you?
Yeah, I
all the
mean,
time. Every
Digitech. Honestly, like all that early, a lot of the early vocal effects on the first couple records, I exclusively used this one Digitech delay that I modded, and I found that in a thrift store. And to this day, that thing still sounds way better than anything I can like try to copy it with. And it's Digitech was making really weird, interesting stuff, and
They really were, and just getting a
you know,
chance to like experiment with layer up effects and stuff like that. That's one of the things where I was like, okay, this is just no joke, a great digital sound processor. Even
oh,
musicians love them.
were you talking about one of those like multi
Yeah,
effects boxes? Okay, yeah. I
yeah,
never messed with any of those, but I mean, I have stuff like that, but
I deeply recommend getting like one of the multi processors from Digitech and like the Voca 3300.
oh, cool.
Those
Yeah, yeah,
ones like ultimate for any kind of gear.
yeah. I mean, I'll keep an eye out for that stuff. I remember being into like I wanted to try one of those like rack mount multi effect Digitech boxes, but at this point, I'm so like head first into like software and designing it all on the computer so we can play it live easier. Um, that I might not be as hardcore about gear as I used to be, but um, yeah, that Digitech delay I'll never be able to replace. So
This goes into my next question. Okay, so are you a fan of the AI and the weird, like AI video art stuff that is out there, and like the whole Chat GPT kind of phenomenon that's like overcasting everything?
um, yeah, I mean it's cool. I think there's going to be some cool uses for it, and I think I think the part that I don't like the most is like how little control you have over it as just a front end like user. Like if you're not coding, if you're not like building these whatever GitHub like programs yourself, if you're not like able to like modify them yourselves, then you're just like on the front end of like open AI's like user interface or whatever. And that stuff's kind of frustrating because I want more control. So like I'll have to program this stuff myself. And me and my girlfriend are actually like working on doing that in more musical stuff, but I haven't found anything yet that I've used that I like that much.
Right.
I'm trying to think if we used any AI stuff for the music. We did on some of the art, but only like technical stuff, like to upscale and things like that. But that stuff's cool. I mean, it's gonna get crazy. Stuff's gonna get insane soon. It already is, but it's gonna be. I want like just a lot of controls. I don't like the generative thing is like it's fun, but I feel like part of the part of the creative process is like being able to like mold everything to what you're imagining and
Well, from what we've heard and what I've read into after listening to this thing on NPR, with these like apps that are very very specific, especially for desktop, the more highly specific you are about every single aspect of your photo, it's like creating what is in your dream to a very, very fine point. And they say, obviously, people that are very, very educated know how to kind of use this highly to their advantage about like maybe the prompts and or how to style it, especially wording it, maybe tricking the AI to do such a thing.
Yeah.
There's that aspect too, or maybe are they also using the AI to help that along as well?
I think my other, I'm like into it and I'm definitely like using it these days, but I think one problem is that I don't like that you have to use language. It relies on language so heavily, and like, you know, text to whatever, it's like it's not as intuitive as just like working on something. And I don't know, I feel like,
That's the art right there.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just hope we can come up with different, ways to like actually like put the put your hands on it, not like literally or even literally or whatever, but just the text thing is like, because I can come up with stuff accidentally working on music the way we do it now, where it's like I wouldn't have been able to write that down to have it create something. And you can still come up with happy accidents that way, but it's, I don't like writing to create art. I think for me it's like I'm not good at that.
The hardest part you have to do. No, I'm joking here, and also I want to bring up in your music. Do you have like a favorite record at this point, or like a favorite song that you also is like that's really fun to work on and play live, or like that one that is always good to just like hear it out?
You mean a song of ours? Uh, like, I think one of my favorite songs of the album is, I think it's Go Green. And I think that playing it live is really fun when it doesn't get screwed up. And then, but recently we just started playing this song Smart Man Do live, and that was on the last record. And that has actually been more fun to play live than it was to make or listen to during the whole process. So like, I don't know,
Yeah.
that one's been a surprise, but yeah.
Yeah. My Ben said exactly what my answer was.
Oh.
Although we've been doing a good job singing classic rap lately, and that song's fun when we're singing it right.
Yeah, all of these are fun when they go right, but when they go wrong, it's like some of the songs when they go wrong, it's like soul crushing. Um, and by go wrong, I mean like because we're playing all these things live. Um, if we mess up one little part, it all cascades and falls apart, and it's like that's why I was saying we're probably like we're just a really sloppy band live. But I think we're doing so much that it kind of like doesn't really matter, but it's funny to like mess these songs up live. And
Yeah, that's also I guess the magic of the show,
Yeah,
especially of the
exactly.
sound.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. We're doing some more touring, and I don't know, then we'll work on new music. Um, it
Yeah,
feels good. It feels
speaking.
like there's like a scene again. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Felt
Like
like
to
there
say,
kind of
there's been
wasn't
a
for a while.
revive since the whole pandemic, and
Yeah.
you came back on tour. And do you want to shout out like any of the favorite places that you played, or like any good moments or memories?
Oh, I mean, anywhere that somebody cares and takes the time to set up the show is sick. I mean, not to be too democratic about it. I'm just like, it's cool when somebody's, we work on this a lot, and it's cool to roll into any city and somebody see somebody else who's like, you know, also put in a lot of time and energy into like making it a good show for us. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, sincerely, but uh,
Well, we could talk about when you got lifted up into the crowd and you weren't trying to do that.
Yeah. In
And like
Montreal, I
he
was
was like
just
crowd surfing against, like, I was in total accident and he had all his equipment on and it was like kind of scary from my perspective,
I
but
was wondering, you seemed more weirded out by it than I was. I mean, I was trying to get down just because I sort of didn't know. I was sort of like a fish, like
well,
flailing around, but
I designed these
I know.
whole harness. I don't know if you've seen how we play live, but we have these like these harnesses on, and it's like, a decent amount of weight and a decent amount of like uh kind of like cantilevering equipment that has to, and so if you lean, you can only lean so far back before it'll probably fall off. um and I was just watching him, like, I think he was he was trying to get off the stage because we wear these exoskeletal legs that are hard to bend all the way down to like step off of a
If you're going
stage.
forward, you can't walk downstairs, but you can walk up. And so what it
Yeah.
means is you can go downstairs, but backwards. So what I
So
was trying
like,
to do was get off
yeah.
the stage, but what I did was I walked to the front of the stage and turned around and then tried to get off. And I was getting the help of some friends of ours who were trying to help me off the stage, but everybody was misinterpreted what was happening and thought I was trying to like crowd surf.
Yeah.
So people started holding me up.
He's a hardcore.
Yeah, it was just so funny because there was no music playing or anything, and it was like
My
it
mic was
it,
also off because for that song that I
it
was
would have been the dopiest kind of like stage dive
Um,
time,
is it
but it was funny.
always like a wireless microphone setup and trying to be mobile?
yeah, I mean that was
That's
the goal with this.
that's
Yeah,
what
we
this is now. Yeah.
everything's it's wireless MIDI, it's wireless audio. Um, yeah,
I might have to look into this wireless MIDI. I've never given that a go. I have like
yeah,
this little.
Witty. Look, we're shout out Witty. It's been really awesome. It's been really awesome.
I got
I
this
mean,
like
it can't go too far, and it's not like professional grade stuff. Like, I'm sure we'll
I
have
see what you
more
mean.
dropouts. Though I'm sure like someone in more of a professional setting might be frustrated with it, but I haven't noticed, compared to the audio stuff, I've rarely noticed any dropouts or any problems. I'm like really surprised, but it's all
Well,
Bluetooth
I
MIDI
went around a
basically.
corner. There was one
Yeah, but
venue
you
when I
can't go
walked around a
far.
corner and I went like out of sight,
Ah.
and it did drop, and
Yeah,
we had
you
to
have to be
reset
line
it.
of sight, but a lot of this stuff is like that. So
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just
Yeah,
anyway.
you gotta be like in your game, I guess, and like keep it to that own set. No more wilding out out of that range.
Yeah, you can't. We can't. We stop ourselves from going too crazy.
That
I
that
mean,
that's
yeah,
awesome because like I have this little Shure wireless microphone setup thing, and I've always wondered about the MIDI capabilities on that because I'm like, it obviously going more wireless gives you more capabilities, especially whenever you're working with electronic gear that doesn't have to like be plugged up per se too.
yeah,
I will just say that, like, if you don't have to, it's like, it does create a lot of, it's like it can be really great until it messes up, and then you have to
yeah.
account for
It's
like, redundancy. Just make sure you have
Yeah,
backups,
backups.
and specifically with us, like, we're tasked with doing so much live that, like, if one thing messes up, I like, it's hard to fix it in, like, we don't have a tech or any, it's just us, like, so it's like I wanted wireless, but like we had to make sure that it was like there was no other way around it, because the wireless stuff can sometimes just be really hit or miss, and especially the microphone stuff, and the is like, you'll get like weird like cutouts and weird like interference sometimes, and in order to not get that, you have to kind of go way more up in price and get like super expensive gear, and it's crazy when you're trying to do all of it at once. So it's been a learning process, but if you don't have to do it, I'd say just be okay with a cable. But if you're trying to crowd surf, get it. if you're trying to crowd surf with your MIDI keyboard, you should definitely pick up a wireless MIDI transmitter.
And all right. So before we go as well,
Yeah, yeah.
I got this two kind of poppy relevant questions. Okay.
Okay.
Are you a fan of like the love dating shows out there on like Netflix that Love is Blind and all those wild ones? The Jersey Shore, I guess, kind of counts too.
I've gotten into them.
You have something? Are you finishing?
Ben, what about you?
Oh, that was the end. I've watched some of that stuff, but it's kind of it. I feel like I just watch 20 minutes and then I try to watch more, and it's the same thing over and over again. But I did like. I had really high hopes for that one where they were like in prosthetics the whole time, but it was just too. It was too samey. It was like, what is it like? Love Monsters or something. What was it
like
called?
that.
It was called.
It was yeah. It was a little too like.
Oh yeah, that one's the Sexy Beast one.
Sexy Beast. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that one's classic.
Yeah, I really thought I would like it more though, but it like I liked the first
rigged.
like episode.
They're all lie.
Yeah, and they're all just like all of them are hot, so it's just like there's no surprise.
There's
like,
no surprise.
waiting for the surprise.
So I was wondering, Fox News kicking out Tucker. All right, are you guys TC fans or are we saying?
Yeah, we
this?
love Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, but to say like TC. All right, he throwing out some of the wildest interviews, the wildest bits. He's gotten the most like craziest views out of like whatever Fox.
I mean,
News
no, he's like he's literally the biggest cable news host.
He's goated for Fox News, and he's terrible. But at the same time, why at the same why are you going to kick out the guy that's bringing in the craziest numbers that you've ever seen, and also is like maybe not on your side but also on your side?
I mean, it does seem funny, right? Like the
lawsuits.
whole point. It's like, really? Now's too far? Like
it's because they were hit with such a huge amount of lawsuits that knew they were going to lose, and the amount of it was going to cost them.
It was
they were just trying to prevent it
Pink.
I haven't read into the business
laptop scandal
right.
over top of like this whole Hunter Biden scandal / the Trump thing, and like overall, I guess maybe a backdoor deal, because I'm like, this guy had gotten paid the fuck out and like got kicked over to another channel or something.
Have you? I'm just waiting for him to join. What's that place called? News Nation, where like all the canceled and fired like hosts are all. I watched an interview yesterday with like Bill O'Reilly and Chris Cuomo.
They'll be fighting.
They were both like talking to each other about Tucker Carlson getting fired, and it was like. And every canceled and fired news anchor is on that network, and I'm just waiting for like Tucker to join that network, and it's just this weird, like I don't know, like it's just really funny. It's like a weird alternate reality to look at that stuff, and it's like this weird Bobo like logo. I don't know. It's just like it's hilarious.
Yeah, I really am curious to read more into the business decision because. Like, I don't know. They are the most like their ad inventory is like the highest. It's like the most expensive place to advertise, like Fox, and it's like it's always just been a business decision. So why now are they getting rid of this guy? Like, yeah, there's these lawsuits, but like. Yeah, I haven't read as much into it. It's yeah, I don't know.
Rest in peace.
I mean, this nigga got on Kid Rock on his show. He got like what Ariel Pink. He's wrapped in the
Was the Kid
craziest
Rock
fuck.
thing related to the like shooting the Bud Lights or whatever?
Yes, like dude,
Yeah.
he's gotten the craziest stuff on Fox News, and then they're gonna be like, all right, this it's enough of that. We're gonna chill out
I,
with that. Not saying
I
like I'm a
do
fan, but I'm like, all right, you actually had somebody that was bringing on some really bad content for these people.
I do like his like resting news anchor face. You know,
The memes
like
are worth it.
the way he like looks at the camera waiting for someone's response, like his is so good. Like
And I mean, he knows what he's talking about is nonsense. I mean, I guess you didn't even need to know that. Like,
the
you
way
didn't
he
need you.
purses his lips, like and he just like opens his mouth a little bit and he's like has this like furrowed brow. Every news anchor's got their own flavor, and the other one I like is I guess the other one was Don Lemon because he got fired too. Maybe it's that look is just out now.
I'm waiting to weed out all of the people that news anchor on the Sports Center, ESPN. There, am just waiting to also shit on them, but I know there's a little bit of backlash because there's some serious sports fans out there that's gonna die for like anybody.
What? They're gonna die?
They're gonna pull a January 6th on me for if I mention any news
On
anchor.
the
Oh.
ESPN
Do you
broadcast
have a
center.
is there a big like ESPN desk like crossover with these
Um,
interview series you're
I'm
doing?
only joking here. All right, so here's a really funny question. Okay, so this is the Vibe Osmosis deal. If you got trapped on an island and you could only bring one thing with you, what would you bring?
MRE rations, I guess.
A radio, probably.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know what I'd bring. I guess rations, but they'll run out. So maybe just like
A little
plastic
boy.
bag to put over my head. I don't know.
Yeah, I would bring a plastic bag too. Actually, that's a good idea.
I'm
Because
officially changing my answer to a sheet of LSD.
yeah, although considering how little food you'll have and just be sun baked, like you might not need it. But like,
The LSD is the Kickstarter. You just take the
I'd
whole
probably just
sheet.
bring Tucker Carlson with me.
Like you might as well just take that whole sheet and then just write out that bad trapped island experience. Like who knows what the fuck will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
We we bring the One America News broadcast center with us.
Yeah,
like, you're gonna go here with me.
I'll bring yeah, like you can only bring 2 news anchors with you to the desert island. I'll probably bring that guy from Young Turks, and then I'll bring
Don Lemon.
I'll bring the Young Turks guy, and then I'll probably bring like who's like another good one.
Bill Maher.
I'll just bring 2. I'll bring 2 of the Young Turks guy.
There you go.
And they'll fight each other.
Well,
is that good? Okay.
Well, all right. I want to say, do you have any shout outs before we close the night?
Join our Discord.
Shout out.
It's the Macula.
Do you have any shows coming up or any projects?
Yeah, we have 2 more short tours coming up. We're gonna be going to the Midwest of the United States, St. Louis. I'm trying to remember all these. It starts May 8th in St. Louis, going all the way to Kansas City, Lincoln, Nebraska, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago. I'm keep going, so I can do it. Detroit, Cincinnati, and then Johnson City, Tennessee, Richmond, Virginia, Philadelphia, New York. We're gonna do another one that hasn't been announced yet, but yeah. Well, I think I did it. I think I.
No, you did it right. I'm sorry. That was my bad.
Might have missed it.
Cool. Thanks for having us.
No, thank you for joining Vibe Osmosis. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All
Lovely.
right, so I'll keep in touch. All right, so I'll give you all the details about the show, uh, and yeah, yeah, exactly. Like if you, well, I was gonna say if you have like specific songs that you really recommend or that you really want me to play of your stuff, um, send.